This is the YMCA of the Rocky in Estes Park, Colorado. And in 1968, I came here for a conference for about 2,500 college students. And that place right behind us there, this longhouse, is where 2,000 of those students met during this conference. It was November, 5 degrees below outside, and snow all over the ground here. It was absolutely stunning environment. I was only 16, and I'd never been west of the Mississippi in my life until I came here for this trip. This conference was sponsored by the Navigators, and a lot of Navigator types were in the church that I had grown up in Virginia. But I'd never in my life seen 2,000 people radically committed to Jesus. And Christians that weren't either kind of fighting fundies or weird. And this was very, very different. Well, 4 years prior to that, I'd really given my life to Jesus and felt that he'd come into my life but for 4 years I had a tremendous amount of difficulty. Just what was the Christian life all about? How does this thing work? And frankly, I was scared to death that if I ever got super serious about Jesus, that he was going to send me to some godforsaken place in Africa and rot in some grass hut somewhere on the backside of nothing. And that was my conception of the people that wanted to be radically committed to Jesus. This third night at this conference, the speaker, who actually was who had been a Marine in World War II, had his vocal cords shot off by the Japanese. He could barely speak. It was this type of a speaking thing. And after the war, the guy had gone back to Japan as a missionary. He stood up there in front of all of us and took Isaiah 6 and basically unwrapped that text on what it meant to be a sent one. The challenge of the night was, if you've never made that commitment of being willing to go and be and do whatever Jesus wanted, no matter where, he said, I challenge you to make that commitment tonight. Well, I was kind of devastated by that thing. I thought, oh my goodness, that's me. Because I really was. I was scared to death to give Jesus control of everything. The evening concluded, and I was looking around for someone that I could at least talk to about this. I locked on to a Chinese student who had come out on the bus trip with us from Virginia, who I'd gotten to know, made a beeline to the guy, and I said, I need to talk. I need help. And I said, that hit me where I live tonight. We walked out of that building and over to the steps of this chapel that's right behind me to the right here, sat on these steps, 5 below outside in the snow, and I basically went through and I prayed through that passage in Isaiah 6. It was a very significant, tearful point in my life of telling God, I'm willing to go, willing to be, anything you want me to do. Here am I, send me. It was basically a lordship moment. All sorts of things came about after that. I won't go into all that now, but how God really invaded my space and put me on a trajectory that ended up years later with CRM. Almost 30 years after that event, Patty and I came back to this place. I'd never been back up here since that time. We were in Denver and made the drive up and walked into that building behind me, and it was absolutely spooky. Reflecting back 30 years back, the decisions that have been made, realizing what would have happened in God's cosmic plan for things if I'd never made that decision. How one destiny moment like that has all sorts of repercussions. What would have happened and what would have been the price I'd have paid and a lot of others had paid if I'd never said, here am I, send me. I think that passage is a key when it comes to understanding apostolic calling and what being sent men and women is all about. I think it's surrendering to the lordship of Jesus and going and being whatever Jesus wants us to be, no matter where it may take us, even if it's a grass hut somewhere in Africa.